Hi everyone, this is Mindy Eggen for Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine, and today we are going to be creating with a 3D embossing folder and its coordinating stencil. The product that I'm going to be using today is the Sensational Zinnias from Gina Designs. It has a beautiful 3D embossing folder and its coordinating stencil to color it in. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a piece of layering weight white cardstock and I just lightly spritz it off camera with some water. I'll place this inside of my embossing folder, and then I'm going to use the Gina Designs intricate die cut machine and the magnetic platform and run that through to emboss the design onto the cardstock. This has such a beautiful design and captures so much detail. To do my ink blending with the coordinating stencil, I am going to be using a double background. This is from Gina Designs. One side is nice and sticky, and the other side has two backgrounds to it. I'm using the flat side, so the non-textured side, and this is going to hold the cardstock down really well because our cardstock is pretty textured because of the embossing. I'm placing the first layer of the stencil over the top, and I want to have 3 different flower colors on my card. So I am masking off the other areas using some Post-it tape. I found my color inspiration on Pinterest. There were some beautiful fall color combinations for the zinnias. So the first flower, I'm starting with a standard blending brush and sweet mango. The second flower I did with butterscotch, and the third flower I am coming in with light orchid. Now for each of these, I am going very light-handed because there's a lot of layers to build up the color. I removed the first layer of the stencil, brought in the next layer. Again, I am masking off the other flowers to protect them. And for this layer on that first flower, I'm coming in again with sweet mango, but this time I am using smaller blending brushes. So these are the mini blending brushes from Gina Designs. I did sweet mango and a little bit of tomato soup on that first one. The next one, the yellow one, I did a heavier hand of the butterscotch. And then again on that bottom corner, I'm using the light orchid, but just applying more pressure to get a darker shade. The next layer of the stencil, I am coming in again with that tomato soup, just a little bit heavier handed. And then I'm going to be coming in with honey mustard for the yellow flower and the medium orchid for that purple one down in the corner. So with each layer, we are building up the petals and also that color. This layer of the stencil, as I start getting a little bit darker, I'm going to come in with coral reef, then again with some honey mustard, again applying a little bit more pressure, and again down in that bottom corner with medium orchid. So just by changing up your pressure, you can really change up the color variations. I did want to step up the purple one a little bit more, so I did bring in a little bit of the dark orchid, and this layer also is covering the edge of the leaves. So that I did with a fresh asparagus, but I'm going to come back to that one. Now there's one final layer here to the center of the flowers where I did come in again with that coral reef, the honey mustard, and also the dark orchid. And we're going to finish coloring in the leaves. And I noticed with this layer, and I may have done these layers out of order, but it's going to cover up the edge of my leaves. So I'm starting off with that fresh asparagus, just like I used before with the leaves. But what I'll do is bring back in that previous layer, and I want to make the edge of the leaves a little bit darker. So I brought in dark sage. So now my flowers, leaves, and stems are all completely colored in. We have such gorgeous dimension because of that 3D embossing folder that just brought all of those petals to life. So in this, I wanted to do some color in the background, but I didn't want to ink blend it and risk getting the blue for the sky into the flowers. So I am placing my panel back into my 3D embossing folder. I just kind of fit it in place like a puzzle. On the back of the cardstock, I do have some repositionable tape to hold that in place. I'm going to bring in sea glass ink and pick up that ink with a rubber brayer, and I am going to apply this to the opposite side. And this is going to color in the sky portion, so everything around the flowers and leaves. I'm going to close that 3D embossing folder, bring back my intricate die cut machine, and run this through once again. So what's happening is we are transferring that blue ink onto the background. So now I have a beautiful soft blue sky, and then I still have all that vibrant color for my flowers. I am going to add splatter, but I wanted it to be a little bit shimmery, so I am using the white iridescent shimmer spray from Hero Arts. I trimmed the panel down to be 4 by 5 1/4. I'm flipping it over and I want to add foam tape, but I want to make sure that my card panel stays flat. So I just kind of taped the corners down with that low tack tape, added my foam tape, and after I remove the backing, I can place that on top of an A2 size side folding card base. I stamped and die cut out a sentiment from the Flower Medley Stamp and Die collection. I did stack them together with extra pieces of cardstock, and I'm attaching them to the front of my project using the Connect glue in a fine tip bottle. And that finishes off my card project where I am ink blending and using a 3D embossing folder to really give texture and dimension to our petals. Thank you all so much for spending time with me today.